love this episode because it's just something that happens, I think, to every single one of us. You know, when you're trying so hard to do something that feels meaningful and important and it just keeps falling apart. This is the episode about what you do next. And I think it's really going to stay with you. And I really, really want to hear what you think. So today I want to talk about something that, I hope every single one of us has faced the moment where life really just humbles you. When you're trying so hard to do something meaningful, something really good, and it's just not happening. And that happened with the launch of this podcast. That happened with the Daily Ascent. It was really one of the more challenging things I've ever done is just like getting this little baby off the ground. Not because it didn't work, obviously we're sitting here, but because my mistakes were just so visible. So I set this date with my beloved producer, Chase, to launch the podcast. I told everybody, right? My friends, my community, my followers, strangers on the street that this podcast was coming. I wrote a whole email to my listserv, like I was all in. And it wasn't ready. It wasn't ready, but I had this like very magical thinking that like, we said the date, it'll all work out. And that launch day came and I opened my podcast like I imagine Christmas morning feels like, and it was not there. There was not even a whisper of the Daily Ascent on that podcast. And I remember this like gut punch and this like hot flash that like moved up my chest and in my stomach, and like that shame that is so visceral. I just wanted to disappear. And, I was like, okay, it's not there. And I talked to Chase, and Chase was kind of like, Molly, why do you think we were launching the podcast? It's not done yet. And I was like, okay, that's my error. And I wrote what I think was a very sweet email to my listserv being like, best things come to those who wait, right? And it's true. And I was like, I'm back in the ready fire aim of my life. And I hope it was funny, whatever. So then the next week we're ready to launch. And I'm like, yes. And this time I was like, this is going to work. So I woke up like I imagine it was Christmas morning. I saw the logo and I was like, yahoo! And I was like, yay, okay, it worked. And then I pressed play. And instead of the first episode, it was a sales trailer for my Stop Starting Over program. And I just like stared at my phone, like jaw dropped. And I was like, oh my God, I literally told every single person again. And I could feel this humiliation like radiating through my body. Like my heart was pounding, my mind was spinning, like every story just decided to arrive at my dinner table. Like, you can't even get this right. Like maybe you shouldn't be doing things like this. What's wrong with you? One of my shame's favorite, like you're just too much and everyone's just exhausted by you. Oh, it was exhausting. But so anyway, I didn't really know what to do because largely my team is in Los Angeles. So I was like, well, it's East Coast time. What should I do? And I planned to go to my Pilates class. And so isn't that what you do when you're humiliated? You go to Pilates. And in the middle of that class, my instructor Felice said, just because it's hard, it doesn't mean you don't go all in. Just because it's hard, it doesn't mean you don't go all in. And then it hit me, like, because a lot of my life has been running from visible failure or running from visible humiliation. It's part of my trauma story. We'll talk about it, I'm sure. But when it comes to that kind of visible failure to be like seen in my humanness, I just want to run, shut down, hide. But the truth about this podcast is that it was really given to me. Like this is an idea, it sort of dropped down into my soul. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be that way anymore. Like, and this podcast deserves better than that. I deserve better than that. And so I just decided to stay. I have this idea in life right now that I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be humiliated, I'm going to be humiliated. If something's going to fail, something's going to fail. But I am going to die trying. I am going to leave it all on the field. And that's really the first time ever in my life. This is how old I am when I'm getting to this, and I'm fine with it. But I love this podcast like a lot. And I don't know, maybe I had to be humbled and humiliated to be ready for it. So today's Pocket Sage reading comes from a really great daily reader from Hazelden called Keep It Simple. And this is the entry for April 15th. When we stumble or fall short, we are given a chance to learn humility. Humility is not humiliation. It's that quiet wisdom that reminds us that we are human, that mistakes are part of growth. When things don't go as planned, our only real job is to keep showing up. One more time for those of you in the back. When we stumble or fall short, we are given a chance to learn humility. Humility is not humiliation. It is the quiet wisdom that reminds us we are human, that mistakes are part of growth. When things don't go as planned, our only real job is to keep showing up. When I read this, I actually had to like stop and breathe it in because it's so easy to confuse humility with humiliation. And like humiliation burns. It makes you want to hide, defend, disappear, shut down. But humility really can soften you. It can really open you up. It can remind you that you're human and that you care enough to try. And that's what this reading gave me. It gave me permission to stay open, even and especially when my shame and my ego wanted to be like, all right, I guess this isn't meant to be. Next topic, next project. So here's the deal. Life is not trying to embarrass us. It's teaching us to stay the course. Every time something falls apart, every time the plan collapses or we mess up in front of people, we just get the chance to practice courage and compassion, just like at the same time. Not this shiny, like motivational Tony Robbins kind of courage, but this grounded, embarrassed, red faced, heart pounding kind, the kind where we can whisper to ourselves, okay, this is awful, but I'm staying the course. I am not leaving. And that's where real growth happens. It's that moment that we realize that being human isn't the problem, it's actually the point. And that perseverance is not necessarily about pushing harder, it's just about returning to ourselves, our values, and these things that we love, even after we've been knocked down twice. Because the truth is, we're going to be humbled, right? But if we keep showing up, we're also going to be strengthened. And so the word of the day, perseverance, that quiet courage to keep showing up when everything in you wants to retreat. That voice that whispers, this matters too much to walk away. It's devotion. It's love that keeps trying. It's humility in motion, this willingness to start again without making it mean that you failed and that it's over. So, where in your life are you being invited to keep going? Not because it's easy and perfect, but because it's yours, because you know that you should leave it all on the field. And what would it look like to meet your next mistake, not with shame, but with humility and heart? So, listen, if this week is humbling you, and let's be honest, it probably will, let's remember we can feel humiliated and still stay in the room. We can mess up and still keep moving forward. We can fall down and still be on our path. So, keep showing up, keep learning. I'm with you. Until next time, let's make it work. See you next time.